working. Yes, setting everything up. All right. Hey, Chris. Hope. Oh, nope. Wrong. Looking at the wrong thing. All right. So you should be able to hear me. I also have a leaking Coca-Cola bottle because I didn't want to grab water today. But anyway, yeah, so basically what happened is that I spent way too much time on the courtyard, so I forgot that I originally planned to stream today, and well, the weather hasn't been helping that much either because it's gray and rainy, so I just mentally hid away in Kayan al-Bashar where it's always 40 degrees. Yep. I wouldn't survive in Kayan al-Bashar. But I'm going to quickly grab the image that I'm going to use as reference. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't, well, fuck. That's the old image, so let's replace it with the new one. And it's far larger. Great. So it's kind of a surprise stream for both me. Well, not really, because I had planned to stream, but I just forgot. Well, actually, to be honest, I planned to stream yesterday, and then I was just way too tired. Yep, that bottle is extremely leaking. Luckily, I put it on a washcloth so that it's not leaking onto my desk. I'm going to quickly drink hopefully enough out of it so that it doesn't leak anymore. Oops. Also, I don't know why the game is not really giving any sound. Also, probably because Today is a messy stream. I think now it's a little bit too loud. But yeah, messy stream, but basically City is the last season of Kayan al-Bashar, and the next, excuse me, this is the reason why I shouldn't bring a Coke bottle, because I get extremely burpy. Which isn't the best way to start a stream. But it was either Coke or lukewarm water. Because I didn't really have. Well, I could bring a little bit colder water and just put a lot of ice cubes in, but didn't feel like that. And I haven't drank any Coca-Cola in quite some time, so I just wanted to drink some Coca-Cola, but then once I poured it into the bottle, I realized, oh, wait. This is going to be a fun stream, because it's basically going to be me burping all around the place. I mean, already the start was a little bit messy. I do want to play some music, but then the last stream I got 14 copyright claims, which I'm not too worried about because I have the license to show that I can use that music. It's just that I'm waiting until it gets resolved, just because I don't want any of those copyright claims to go into a copyright strike, because if you have 3 copyright strikes, you can literally just be pulled from YouTube, which is probably not the best thing to happen. So, yeah. Fun times today. But I did build like a mock version of it, just so that I knew how to build it a little bit. Also, maybe just for the fun of it, because, well, there's not a lot of people here, I can basically record it and maybe make this into an extra video. I have no idea if I'm going to build the aqueduct with it as well, because I have kind of a thing against aqueducts. I mean, they look fine, I just don't like them in Kayan al-Bashar, because it doesn't seem practical between floating islands that kind of move around a little bit. So if they, you know, move a little bit, they would constantly need to repair the aqueducts. So I'm just going to build the massive water wheel. But I found a piece that would work with it. Also, the structure of the aqueduct is pretty weird, because it's not like a windmill where like the spikes come from one central thing. Because I'm just going to make this bigger, but here it does do a little bit, but there's usually a square and then the spikes that jet out. Hopefully you see my mouse. I don't think so, because but basically the spikes that jut out from the center come from the corners of the square in the middle. So, well, I can show it here. Hey, boss builders. Yeah, I quickly realized, like, wait, I am having this picture up in the Streamlabs, so you guys won't see it. Also, it's, but oh, I should stop recording for just a little bit to show this. I'm going to build what's in the, well, upper right corner, or at least that's the reference point. But with a normal, like, windmill thing, you basically have this. But with these Norias, you kinda have let's do this very quickly. You more so have this structure. So it's quite a lot different. But it's still a complete, like, circle in the end. So, fun times. Now I can start recording again. Then that 2 strikes, 2 strikes, and just do this all over the place. But you might already guess from just that I am building a Noria that the next phase of Kayan al-Bashar isn't as green as the rest of it has been so far. Alright. I need a 1 meter plank for this. That's a 2 meter. 4. That's not useful in any way. I knew that we had a 1 meter plank somewhere. It's just difficult to find these things. Or I could use this. I'm just going to do that to even out the positions of these things. I have no idea if this is going to work as I want it to do, or if it's just going to look kind of messy. Probably a bit of both. Yes, my cocoa or my words. Coca-Cola bottle isn't overflowing anymore, so that's a good thing. I also realized this is not going to create a nice circle. So I have to do it like this. I know that there's like a 1 meter plank somewhere that doesn't look like it's made out of plastic. Because that's the thing with like most building pieces in Planet Zoo. Either they are too large or they just look like plastic. Which is generally something I want to avoid when building. So So the inner ring thingy. And then we get to the outer ring. This is going to be a very large water wheel. Or Noria. Although the structure is interesting. And accurate. Then make it like that. I have no idea why they built them like these, because, well, it's maybe stronger, or I don't know. I have literally no idea why they are built like this. But I've looked at like all kinds of, well, Norias. They all have this weird thing, or weird structure. I mean, it's nice because it has definitely shows another way of building things. So it might be just that, well, in the West we are basically just always seeing those like very traditional or stereotypical water wheels. I mean, I should know. I live in the country where those windmills are everywhere. Although they are also a tourist trap. That I can just tell you guys for certain. Windmills are a tourist trap if ever there was one. Although I literally have one of those windmills in the village that I live in. So, kind of weird. They are a tourist trap, but then it's also they are just everywhere. They don't fit. Maybe they have a bigger space for the connection to the rest of the building. That could actually be the case. Because, well, most of water wheels are not really, well, Norias are really for irrigation. I mean, most of them are connected to aqueducts or in some other way an irrigation system. So it could actually be the case that they are just because they need to get water out of the river. But the best thing is is their cake. Food. I think I talked about this with Jen, but lately it's just been a lot of sweet potato for me. Which isn't a bad thing because, I mean, sweet potato tastes amazing. Baked, fried, mashed, just normal cooked. It's weird because it doesn't look like a circle. It looks janky. But it is a perfect circle. Let me retry this. these things look a little bit too plasticky. Don't think that's really a proper word, but we will do it with it. But yeah, some things just look so much like plastic. Could also use these. Just going to have a look if these work. Or at least work better than not like that. Well, everything can be a symbol of a cult. It actually makes sense to have like more weathered planks on the outside, because the inner side, well, that's not going to work. So I need a plank that has like the connection point on the middle. It's so fun when Frontier doesn't give you actually that much when it comes to those things. And these are just way too huge. Let's see. If these planks work, then I'm going to eat a shoe. Not literally, but you know, I don't think these will work. It's weird how much, like, how you look at something. Like, this still looks very janky to me. It doesn't look like it's a good circle, but it is. Alright, so this is the only plank that really works. I'm going to do this. Just so that it's a little bit broader, because it just looks tiny. I need to delete those planks. Alright, I know this is practically the same as I did before, but we're going to make it work somehow. Good enough. Besides, this is going to be sideways, so you won't really see it all that much. It literally just took like a couple of seconds and then it was just like, nah, good enough. Let's move on to the next thing. Also, I have no idea if this is going to be for a habitat or not. I do intend to actually have maybe some staff facilities connected to this building. Again, no aqueducts, because that just doesn't make sense in Kayan al-Bashar. Alright. This is basically how the wheel is going to look. And then the fun thing is to make basically boxes of water. Actually, it has to be on these things. These Arctic wooden pieces are not the best things to use, but they are easy. So then it's just I don't think there are really boxes supposed to be on it. I think they're probably just blanks, but let's just assume that Kayan al-Bashar is a little bit well, they had to make sure that their irrigation was top notch. So they made boxes to hold the water. Which isn't a lot, actually, now that I look at it. I thought there was a bug, but no. Also, just a quick question, since it seems that, well, actually, just a quick question to Chris. And this is all just because I thought there was a bug, but what is your opinion on spiders? Oh, wait. Easier method. Because this is still not that piece heavy, so I can get away with this. Yep, spiders. Just a general question, because for me, spiders are like, first of all, they are useful against mosquitoes, so that's why I already sort of love them. Because if you want any kind of like mosquito repellent or something, just place me in a room next to you. Yeah, mosquitoes will always find me for some weird way. They will just supposedly just very tasty when it comes to mosquitoes, so I love spiders. I think I've yeah, I know that there's like a spider web in my room. I know exactly where it is, and I'm not touching it, because if that spider kills even one mosquito, then he has done his job for me. It's just the smaller the spider, the more scarier I think about them, in a way. But that's probably just because of like the notion that usually the smaller spiders make up for it with their venom because they don't have like the size to kill the spider or kill their prey. So they make up for it in venom. So that's why I'm always more scared of like a smaller spider. And wasps are just die. So this is just to, in a way, hide those things. Well, since a few years, I'm okay with them. I always talk to them like, hello spider, please stay where you are. I don't want to hurt you because you scare me. That's the thing that people usually say, like, oh, they're scared of, or more scared of you than you are of them. Which makes sense because you can squish them really easily. But yeah, that doesn't help when you have like a phobia or something off of them. Like then it's just go away. I still don't like spiders. I just know that they are useful, so that's why I'm like, alright, if you stay where you are, then it's okay. Hey, Okapi lover. It's always somewhat strange to say your name. Also fun to say your name. Oh wait, this is the way I did that. Whoops. Yeah, it's a little bit of a surprise stream, Okapi lover, because I forgot to stream. Because it's terrible weather here. Which shouldn't be an excuse, but whenever it's terrible weather, I just hide away in Kayan al-Bashar and don't come out. I really know that when I get like to the age of like 60 or something, I will be one of those who just travels to the nice weather. What was the name actually for those kind of people who like when it gets cold in their place they just sort of go on like a summer or winter vacation to a warmer place? There is a naming for that. Also, I'm going to drink a little bit. It has stopped leaking though. Also, don't run upstairs with a not completely sealed Coca-Cola bottle because, yeah. Nope, still leaking. It's just not constantly leaking anymore. Why did I read that as I didn't want any distractions on my bald, on my bald sleep? But happy birthday, Okapi lover. Hope you had some nice pie or cake. Yeah, every conversation with me inevitably turns to food. I also just attract people that like to talk about food, which isn't a bad thing in my opinion. Some of the best conversations I had started with foods. So I think that this needs to be bigger. That's too big. 4 meters. And then So I don't know if this is, I don't think this is for me to shop. Alright. Now I need to secure this in some ways. So it's weird, I've drank half a Coca-Cola bottle and I'm not as burpy as I thought I would be. Although this could also mean that I will just eventually start hiccuping, which I think is just generally worse. So this wheel went surprisingly fast. I'm just going to quickly look if I'm missing something, because that's usually the case. Yep, I am. Now I need to set everything back so that I can see you guys again. But I forgot these spokes in between the wheel connecting the two. Because now all that's holding it together is the boxes and the middle. Yep. So can I just get this one? Nope, not like that. Oh yeah, I want, like, this is something that I basically wanted to talk about in my videos, or, well, after I went on a 3 video wide just rant on Snow White, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Like, just ranting about like old fairy tales. But it also made me realize that the new live action versions are not the greatest. I might have talked actually about this already in a stream once, but yeah, let's just think about the Beauty and the Beast live action version, because I know I'm not going to be able to put this rant into a video anymore, so that's why I'm using it for stream. But in my book, it's one of the, well, it's just the worst of all the live action remakes so far. Though I want to see Mulan. Aladdin, even though we all laughed about Will Smith when it was announced, actually is now like one of my favorites. Well, it is my favorite. So in the middle of that, and in the middle of that. Middle of that. Middle of that. Because, well, I might have told you guys about this already, but I'm just going to focus really quickly for these so that I can just copy it all over. But I do like, well, in a way, fashion, but then mostly when it comes to historical fashion, that's just like, I love that stuff. So that's the thing with like the remakes. Well, especially Beauty and the Beast. It's just like, what, what, what's that dress? Also, hey Emma, how are you doing? I think we have the Wheel of the Noria done right now. I need to make a smaller one. You cheeky, squeezy, squirrel head, crazy Kayan. This is, well, it's a Noria, so it actually went by surprisingly fast. This was only in 30 minutes. And I know because I recorded it. So I'm going to quickly pause it. I'm going to drink a little bit. This is the one good thing about not having water and instead having Coca-Cola, because I drink a lot slower. Still sounds like I'm drinking the entire ocean, but it's also not too heavy on the piece count. I say as yeah, it's pretty much the same amount of pieces as a whole building. One wheel. Well, two wheels in a way, because it still has this one connected to it. Yeah, that's just because I gulp, I think is the best word for it, really loud. Or I just take, well, don't take that large of sips, just the sound is really loud. Should I be bothered that there's one spoke missing, so up. Get back in line, all you spokes. So it sounds like I'm like drinking 1 liter per ship. Are you watching me stream while also sitting in class? Emma. But yeah, with streaming, I basically have just made it so that whenever I drink, I usually just mute myself. Just I am not in like ASMR channel where me drinking is going to be a thing. So now I have to connect these two things, because if I'm right, that should work. Yep. Wow. That's probably just never going to work. Like, just with how the wheel is structured, because it's different than like your normal like windmill wheel, it looks very janky. I wanted to say wanky, but that's going to go somewhere completely different. But it doesn't look, well, the outer ring looks like it's a wheel, but the inner wheel definitely looks like it's not a correct circle. And how am I going to do the rest though? So this is going to be a huge wheel, so on one side there's going to be a low thingy, and then the water wheel basically has to drop water off of at this height, basically. I can make something work. Yeah, it's probably because of like the color of it. This is going to kill some frame rates. I mean, yes. I also made an entire walkthrough habitat without any fences, without any like guest doors. And it works. Well, I think it works. Keepers seem to like it. But basically, Chris, if you can like imagine the entirety of the Hagia Sophia build so far, all of it is now a peafowl habitat. All of it. So, I said I didn't want to do an aqueduct, but I also realized that with the size of this wheel, it has to be an aqueduct. Or at least for a small part. So, that. Happy peafowls. Yeah, they have a habitat of not yeah, I think 6 kilometers in floor space. I They have a very large habitat, so they should be very happy about it. It's really storming outside. I mean, I hear my roof creaking. So, American alligators would be tropical, right, or temperate? Well, I think they. Because all like American alligators or crocodiles, well, all I know is like they live usually in somewhere like Florida or something, which is warm, but if it's tropical, let's just see if this. That's, I think, the correct size. So that's. But I do know that they probably prefer warmer water. Whether that means they need tropical water. I'm not sure. Then I'm not really an animal expert. I mean, I've placed red pandas basically everywhere. So I'm probably not the best person to ask about, excuse me, about those things. The burps are coming. I can feel it. Hey, Trax. I, oh yeah, I completely forgot to put it on Twitter that I'm live. Oh well. So, donut or cheesecake? uh, for me, it would be cheesecake. But that's because, like, sometimes donuts just get somewhat messy. If it's a clean donut, like a donut that you can eat without, your entire fingers sticking together almost, then it's donut. But if it's like one of those really sticky donuts, then cheesecake. Oh, I can do this twice. Wait, can I? Let's first look. Is this high enough? Nope. Because it needs to be around this height. Wait, is English American cheesecake the same as in Germany? Think it is. I have no idea. For me, it's just food. So, this one is a little bit. Give me. So, can we all just ignore what I said in the beginning about no aqueducts? Can we... Oh, I forgot to record. Oops. Well, the aqueduct's pretty easy. If you get one circle right, then it's pretty easy to recreate it. For me, it's strawberry cake or chocolate cake. Here comes the thing. Even though I really like chocolates, I actually don't really like chocolate cake. But that's because most times that I've eaten chocolate cake in the past, it's like just a bomb of sugar. Almost as just like giving me an instant like headache because of it. That there's like so much sugar in it. Aqueduct is actually pretty easy to build, now that I look at it. I say as I am building it, which... Like, this is the weird thing when it comes to building. What I say is easy to build. Usually I then hear like, that it's not easy at all. So... I really hear the storm outside. If I'm suddenly just gone, it's probably because the storm took away the internet. Oops. Didn't separate this into two buildings yet. There is a... Yep. So... That's working. This would make the things too tiny, so they need to be one space away from each other. Actually, just to make it a little bit denser. Oops. I'm not really too worried about like the little nooks that I'm leaving, because I also don't think that anyone really wants to get a fully pre-made aqueduct unless I really incorporate it into a habitat. Which this could be for monkey habitat. Actually, so let's just move that over. So the water is being dropped off here. There should be a little bit more width to this so that the wheel is not connected to the aqueduct itself. Now it's just somewhat of a cleanup action. Going to make this one wider. Then just take these pieces. So again, if I suddenly fall away, then the storm outside is just getting too wild. Can somebody asks you to stop partying? So, basic small aqueduct. Northern American DLC over. Well, it's actually a good question. Because both continents right now in the game have almost nothing. Well, Australia's absolutely nothing. That's sadly a fact. Australia has absolutely nothing in the game. So Frontier will probably give Australia a DLC earlier than America or North America. Just based on the fact that Australia doesn't have anything. But then, when it comes to animals, just thinking about it with like how the pack would sell. I mean, slap kangaroos or koalas on there and the pack will sell. Hey, I'm Simmer, or Neen Simmer. Well, completely custom made aqueduct, but then it has to be a custom made. Which is weirdly bulky in some areas. Just going to look. Yeah, that's completely correct. And also, good evening to you. So, going to need to delete all of these pieces for once. Like, that's when you know that I'm done with a building in some way, when I start deleting those things. And these... Yep, that's the reason why it doesn't work completely. Delete those things. Favorite protein? You mean my favorite kind of meat? It's all just a little bit wonky, a little bit off. This is going to make me cry, but I can't deal with things being a little bit off, and I know how to rebuild it, so it's not too big of an issue. But now I should first start with the pillars instead. You want to send us the rest of your birthday meal? That would be a funny thing though if you did want to do that. So 6 white. Hey Jen. Not much. Basically, the beginning of the stream was fun. And I'm still not as burpy as I imagined I would be. This would be a better size for it. So let's just... But basically we are building a Noria today, Jen. Which I'm not completely sure. Yeah, burpee, because usually I have a... Excuse me, just as I say that. But usually I have a bowl of water, but today didn't feel like it, and I didn't want to also put like ice cubes into the bottle to get cold water, because yeah, originally forgot that today was stream day. But was two. But basically now I have a bottle full of Coca-Cola, which means that yeah, I will go burpee. Anyway, just going to quickly mute myself before the sound of me drinking the ocean comes. Let's sit upright for once. This is 2. So this, then doing this. That. I don't think they would really use marble in their aqueducts, but it's Kayan al-Bashar. I want marble. If I don't use marble at least once every stream, I'm going to short circuit. So there's still some. Meh. I can't use the marble. Well, I can. Well, the aqueduct is in a way functional because, of course, when this to make sure that the water gets where it needs to be, without, of course, like magic, because I always don't like it when just the ultimate answer is just magic. But you need to basically create a slope so that the water moves down naturally. So it makes sense that there's like a tiny aqueduct. Also, why the fuck does this not work? I have very much patience when things don't go my way. Maybe this will work. Maybe. This is too small. Luckily, that. Luckily enough, things that are too small is easily changed. It's more difficult when things are too large. So let's do it like that. You heard nothing. Oh, imagine how fun it would be to just have the live commentary for every video that I've made. No idea if this is going to work. But just... Alright, let's all pray now that this works. Yes. Because this is, in a way, quicker. And more fun. So... Because if I made the circles separately, you would never have heard a squirrel freakouts. But I was originally talking about Disney, wasn't I? Before the freak out happens. Should probably resume that talk. Because again, I can't use it for a video anymore. But basically, you just everybody who joined semi recently. But I've been watching most of all the remakes. And again, Aladdin is my favorite so far. But I also really... Hang on a second, just need to make this work. So, does it work? Sides. This I might not have done S. So, oh, that's too large. Yeah, basically, I like historical fashion. Oh, I like fashion in general, but well, it's no surprise that I like history and fashion combined then. So just me, or does it look a little bit broad? But then when like with Aladdin, there were definitely in the original animated version there were some issues because it drew quite heavily, I would say, on some stereotypes surrounding like the Middle East, which they sort of rectified in the remake, such as that like in the original they said like the Middle East was like barbaric or something, and they cut that out from the new version of the song. Yeah, you can really see in some of the movies that they weren't really that friendly. Is it too high? So, but they also made like all of or most of the clothing in like Aladdin somewhat historically accurate, of course, keeping in with it being a fantasy thing. So there's still some fantasy, but most of the clothing has some like historical accuracy to it, or like cultural accuracy. And then you come to Beauty and the Beast, where there is absolutely none of that. I haven't watched The Lion King. I'm just like too afraid to be disappointed by that one. I think that's a bad thing if you're like so afraid that it's going to be bad. Let's just go that. But yeah, when it came to like the new Beauty and the Beast, I was originally very happy that like Emma Watson got to play Belle because she does seem like the perfect actress for that. But then, why does I'm just going to go straight to the point. Why does her dress look like it's a cheap, not Chinese knockoff? Not saying that things from China are bad. It just looks like something you get at like a bargain bin at some place. And I think also, I think any fashion historian, or again, I watch a lot of those fashion historian YouTube channels, but I think every fashion historian has completely destroyed that dress for how bad it is. Yeah, that's basically the thing, Chris. It looks like something you would buy at a Disneyland shop, which would still be completely overpriced, but it really looks so cheap. And it's just completely historically inaccurate, that also. Which I get that they didn't go for historical accuracy because pre-revolutionary France, they like their women 2D basically, because there was a lot of hip action. There was nothing in the front or in the back, so I get why for like modern audiences that would look really strange. But then, like, even the animated version, like, not historically accurate at all, but it would be a bit more like historically accurate for like a Victorian style dress. So it makes sense. There's like, as well, someone who likes to just watch Disney movies, there's also that sort of wow factor with like the transformation of like, you know, the peasant girl into the princess. You don't have that with the new version of the Beauty and the Beast as well. It just looks very cheap, and actually her peasant dress almost looks better. Well, Beauty and the Beast, because the Beast is a prince, and we all know that royalty and nobility were cut down when the French Revolution happened. So it's supposed to play in like pre-revolutionary France, or that's like the intent. You don't really, well, you can't really place the story there because it's also not really there, but it's supposed to be in like pre-revolutionary France. So yeah, Belle would probably have like those huge Marie Antoinette wigs, and again would have those. Well, when it comes to today's fashion, they of course those gorgeous dresses of those time look ridiculous. Like there's no way to avoid that kind of conversation. That fashion of those times was written in like the 70s, 50s. I've no idea where when it's actually written. I just know that's supposed to play in like pre-revolutionary France because there's still the nobility which got decapitated. So I've no idea when it was written, but story was probably supposed to be in pre-revolutionary France, but they just butchered that complete setting, because if you look at the background characters, they actually do have somewhat historically accurate dresses. And then you look at Belle and it just looks like she walked out of Target or Walmart. I have no idea if that statement can be correct because I don't have a Walmart or Target anywhere near me. I'm awful with dates, Jen, so while you're searching, can you look if that was pre-revolutionary or if it was just, well, when the story was... So, let me try and phrase that correctly. But could you look if the story was published after or before the revolution? Because I am horrible with dates, names, etc. I was very good when it came to history with like, oh, this happened around that time. But then I also have always had history teachers who didn't really care if you got the dates correct. They just wanted for you to know, like, oh, this happened around that time. Which I think is a better way of teaching history, because dates is something you will always look up. What the fuck did I do there? Oops. French Revolution. Oh, then it was actually published before the French Revolution. Yeah, it's just like, why does it look like Belle literally just went to a cheap knockoff store for her dress? And also, hey, Fayeli. I'm always going to be butchering names. But I also just... This is just because I've watched way too much like fashion historians. But, so there's this misconception that like, well, corsets more so, but basically that any sort of corset is like meant to be like painful and anything. That's like, it's a torture device, which it isn't. Or if it is a torture device, then you're not wearing it right. Now, also, so Fairly and anyone else who just joined, I'm basically ranting about the remake of Beauty and the Beast. Yeah, I get that they, of course, didn't want to go historically accurate because, like, it looked okay back then. Because that was in style back then, but to us it would really look strange. Because, again, like, I like to just say it like this, but they liked their women back then 2D, with nothing in the back and nothing in the front. Just a whole lot of hips. But this is just a thing which I just have a little bit of a gripe with, or don't know if a gripe is like the correct word for it, but there's like this assumption that corsets, or the precursor which is stays were torture devices. But then you also have to think, all right, so basically for a long period of time, all like social classes of women wore those things. Do you really think that's like the farmer, or yeah, the farmer's wife or the farmer women would wear torture devices in which they like constantly were would pass out or something? So yes, if you were probably like nobility, you would of course go for like really high fashion, which would be not as comfortable. I mean, we still do that to this day. Like, how many wear high heels even though they are painful? But yeah, it wasn't really like, oh, you're wearing a corset, so you must be in pain. No, you wear things in a way that was comfortable to you. Because stays are basically the precursor of the modern bra, or were used as a precursor. Because again, if Martha was working in somewhere, she wouldn't like working women wouldn't wear corsets if it meant that they would basically be suffocating the entire time. And so I'm always like, if someone says like, oh, when you're wearing a corset, you must be in pain. No. And it's also like, I think, what is it? Later Victorian era, where it like the thing of like tight lacing, which is where women would faint and actually crack their ribs. That's late Victorian, not French Revolution or pre-French Revolution, because women, just as today, just as basically everyone, likes their own comfort. Wasn't expecting to learn so much of women's fashion history from Pensu. Well, that's something you just get as an added bonus. But basically, the entire point is, in the movie, Emma Watson refused to wear a corset because she thought, oh, it's like this torture device, which it wasn't. It just shows that he just didn't really look up how women wore it back then and just went with the media idea of corsets were torture devices. For I used to wear a corset every day for 10 hours a day, and they are built by people who actually care about comfort. I can't imagine what these old ones must have felt like. Well, that's the thing, they were also built for comfort. Only when you were in like high society, that's where you get the more uncomfortable ones, but that's still to this day, because look at those like red carpets outfits that some people wear. How many of those will be actually comfortable? Probably a lot of them are like restricted in movement or anything, so whenever you go to like something of like high fashion or something, you're somewhat automatically going to just go down when it comes to comfort levels. I mean, same goes with like high heels. Like, yes, they might look pretty, and I'm always wondering if you, with an actual like stiletto shoe, can actually stab someone. Probably not really the thing I should think about, but I I'm a squirrel. But yeah, when someone just says corsets are torture devices, or historically they were torture devices. Mm, yeah, maybe if you were like a high society lady in Victorian England, because people generally wanted to breathe, even back in history. Still not completely right. It's right on this side. I just tried one out of leather at a medieval market. Yeah. I think it's all comes down to like making sure it fits you. I mean, we do that with all clothing that we want to wear like daily. We make sure that it fits. When it comes to like an event or something, if it's looks good, then we well sometimes go down in comfort because it looks right and you don't wear or are not expecting to wear it that often. I just realized. Yeah. Yeah, and that's also the thing. It's you just have to sort of move differently as well. There is a thing, there's more than one. So, it isn't completely right in on this side, but I'm not really too worried about it because it's only this. So, but yeah, that was basically my TED talk on yeah, corsets will only, well, not only, but will mostly be torture devices if you're not wearing it correctly. Before anyone asks, I'm not going to wear a corset to show that because I just don't like want to. That would be a crazy thing though, if I ever like meet people and I'm wearing a corset. Although I'm always curious about wearing a kilt. Like, I'm not going to wear a corset, but I'm going to wear a kilt. That would be fun, actually. Wearing a kilt. But then comes the age-old question. With or without underwear? Oh, I have worn high heels for a play before. I've been in one play, or actually two plays, but for one I had to wear high heels. I can surprisingly walk easy in high heels, I did notice that. get this correct. So this upper bit isn't right. I'm just going to do this. There are some cracks, but I can work with that. I mean, it wouldn't be like my shoe of choice. Let's make that thing clear. But if you say walk in those shoes for like 20 minutes, I should probably be fine. Wondering how well I will do when it's like any bit longer than that. Oh, they're not that big. Jen, then you're actually taller than me, I think. Can anybody quickly do a from like feet in inches to like centimeters? Because I can't. Oh, no. Then you're the same height as me. So I am 175 centimeters. Although there's actually a question about that, because my sister also says that she's 175, but then I am slightly well, I used to be slightly taller than her. Now I think I'm actually the same height, so then it would make sense that she's also 175. I am actually quite small for a Dutch person. Because Dutch are supposed, well, I think are the tallest people in the world. And then I come there with my 175. Oh, I forgot to do the crack thingy. That sounds wrong. So Chris is 165. I always want to say 150 or 156. $175 is the average size of men. Yeah, tell that to every guy that I know who is like a head taller than me. Like, when I go to college, I am the smallest there. Because I think the average size in the Netherlands is like around 190, I think. So yeah, I am definitely the shortest, or one of the shortest. This is way too tall. This is going to be fun, because it has to be like this now. Yeah, the Netherlands is a land of giants. I'm going to just quickly look it up just for funsies. Average height. The average Dutchman is 183. And let's. This is I think an old thing. But yeah, that's the average. So it could also just be that I live in a place where there's everybody is just 190. Netherlands, 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 Netherlands. Yeah. And average height here is around 183. But then literally everybody in my surroundings is taller than that. I think I've just made this too tall. But I also had a friend with. Now I feel tiny. So this wheel has to, like, the boxes need to go up to the top of this. So this could still work. I can just see, like, if this was in the 21st century, that were just like tiny shops in these things. This is my urban design education coming out. But it's, well, what was I talking about again? Ew. And this in the middle somehow. I want to make this fit somehow, so because I like marble. I feel tiny next to him. His boyfriend with 185 still looks small next to him. Yeah, when you're 2 meters everybody's going to look small, no matter your size. Like, once you go above a certain height, the rest of the world just becomes tiny. I do not really care too much. Like, sometimes you just... A building doesn't have to be completely perfect. Sometimes. I'm quickly going to turn on a light. I still have a little bit left of my Coca-Cola, so probably also going to drink that. Well, now I don't have anything left to drink. Oops. Alright, so we have... I'm going to keep this on a separate build so that I can easily just turn it around if I need to. Then you could always go get something else to drink. I could, because today I can actually stream for a lot longer, so I could stream for an hour and a half more. Well, I could even stream for longer because I don't have anything to do tomorrow. Nope. Completely free tomorrow. And I just need to get another picture of Honoria. This time I'm going to... They have the smaller ones, but I right now just want to build a big one. Where's the one from Anno? Because I like that Noria. Where are you? Why do I get Anno 1800? Let's just... Can I just get this? Nope. Can't show it to you guys because it, again, doesn't want to show it. Because it hates me. But I have an image of what I want to do. So now I just have to basically make a building. And I'll make a building. That's basically all the things that I do. Good shout in Discord. I could try. Let's see if it will. what would be... Let's see if I can. So I have put it in Discord. So that's basically the sort of image that I'm going to work with a little bit. Not completely, because it's not completely what I want. But there needs to be a building here. Think it still should go lower than this. Why? I'm just going to look then at the permissions. Reads. Yeah, you should be able to see everything. Can you see it now? Any building next to this is going to look tiny. Oops. I want to have it not completely. I can... That's not right. Can send it again and then just delete the first image. Whoa. Excuse me. This is why I said that I was going to be burpy. And then this has to be a different color just to set it apart from the other building. Because I just imagine that they might have used like an old Roman aqueduct for this, and then just attached a Noria to it. That's generally the idea that I'm going for right now. Looks a little bit too dark. So this is not going to be a building owned by like a farmer or something. They would be able to afford to build such a building. So this is obviously state owned or something like that, or just not owned by anyone who wouldn't be able to afford such a thing. So this one is for the larger thing, and then it can drop off later. And then just to make sure that's not a box. Because again, that's one of the things that I can definitely say you should avoid, is to make your buildings into a box. Instead, I want to have it that there's a slight extension to this side of the building. And then just a tower to connect these two things. If there's one thing a squirrel likes, it's a tower. This makes the Noria also not seem as huge. The water would be coming from here. So the support of this extension couldn't go any further. So again, these Arctic pieces, if you want to have like those beams, just use these. They are so easy for that. I wouldn't say like always use these, but in most cases they do a very easy job at things. Does this look too messy though? There are the new pieces. Just a very quick way of not having to build your own bridge. Oh, that's why it's not really good. That's why that's also not completely. I hate it when, excuse me, Planet Zoo just wants to do things their own way. One of my earbuds is again just slowly falling out of my ear constantly. So does look a little bit Mexican, weirdly. which wasn't the intention. Using different wall pieces for this. Ooh. That will make for easy shutters. That's too large. Alright, so it's always stairs, some form of it. This is not the most fun thing to do, but makes the stairs usable. Don't know why I want to do that, but they're supposed to be usable, it seems, so that you can fix the wheel if anything goes wrong. Then we should talk about some funny things. So what was the thing with the cactus? Oh, you mean the stripper cacti. I think Jen is supposed to probably explain that one. This is too big. Oh wait, I can still do it there. But yeah, I think Jen should be the one explaining that. Or actually, well, this just doesn't look right. Is it supposed to be a staircase or not? I'm just going to quickly look it up. No, it's not. Although, well, basically, it started in a way because Jen drunkenly bought a cactus, and then I basically how can I explain this without me looking like an insane person? Um, Basically, in the morning, I am not that useful. So, yeah, in the morning, I usually, my brain isn't really awake yet. So, when Jen said that she had bought a cactus, the only thing I could think about was a dancing cactus, which then gradually transformed into a stripper cactus. And then, well, you saw the rest. I have never bought a cactus while drunk. But yeah, that's basically how it somewhat started. My morning brain transformed just a bought cacti into a stripper cactus. And then, well, then everything just started. So, whenever I think of like just things to buy while drunk, I always think of like just the stereotypes, which I don't know if I can talk about those on YouTube. And I need one block. I'm a little bit trying to concentrate to make this look not completely ridiculous. I'm probably going to delete this building though, because it just doesn't look good. Like, this looks better in a way, which is usually not the thing I do. Usually I make things way too large. Well, as long as you love it, then it's all good. It was just really funny to, like, my half asleep head walk into the Discord and just see, I bought a cactus. That was just not something you expect to see in the morning. So you only need one stone now. It's better than the first time I got drunk and ended up giving my 9-year-old sister the dog. The birds and the bees. uh, so. Oh, there's still some bits of this left. Let's just do that so that I still have an anchor point. And then let's do this. Like, without the building, it looks a lot better. It looks a lot more clean. But I tried weird plants like moss and beans. Whoops! Fuck! That's when I have an empty bottle and I scratch my head. Yeah. Let's try and not demolish my room. That would be great. So now there's like an anchor thingy. Again, everything that I don't know. We said we were going on a mission and left and came back with new clothes and why? Huh? Why 3 empty trash cans? Wait, did you go away with them full, or did you just get 3 empty trash cans out of nowhere? I need the context here. I need to know. Did you leave with the trash cans, or did you just buy the trash cans? Where did the trash cans come in this story? I'm really not the one for flowers. That sounds like, when you go to IKEA or something and you go for like, I don't know, some plates or like a few pillows and you come back with a whole new room. IKEA is really good at doing that. I need something of iron or metal. Iron, metal, same thing. Wait, we as in you and your husband, or you and your sister? At what point are we right now? Uh, we really need to just one time on either the Discord or just somewhere have just a night where Jen tells stories. Like, just stories. Just like a campfire night or something like that. Because I do think that Jen has the best story so far. Should I use a clock for it? Ah, not that it makes it any less strange. I need something made of iron. Can I use the golden llama? Nope, that is too small. I mean, you're always allowed to ask. Whether Jen is going to answer is a different story. The rhino. What's this? Hmm. Ew. Ew. Yes. Found it. Actually, let's keep the dark color like that. Now it's connected. Oven. And there are smaller Norias on the sides. I've just spent this whole time just building this. Not that it's a bad thing. But also I still don't really have a place for this yet. Uh, Smaller Noria on the side should be able to work. but then like directly adjacent to this one instead of having that gap in between. Let's see. Yeah, this here it has a gap in between. Just going to quickly do this just to see how it's going to look. Boop, 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 boop. Also, if you place down fences and don't say boop, I don't trust you. So it's going to look needs to be a little bit further into the water. I mean, it's actually the same with like people who dislike bacon or like chocolate. I don't trust them. Unless it's of course for medical reasons. But otherwise I don't trust you. Yeah, I think we need a smaller Noria as well. You see? But this is basically what it's then going to look like. Probably some plants. Going to keep these things separate so that I can reuse them. Like, I get it if you're like allergic to meat or chocolate, but otherwise, if you actually like dislike them, then I don't trust you. Now I need to get this in the middle of this. So this is just going to be a smaller Noria. Which is at most going to be this large. Just to, you know, get water or something. Oh, oops. So again, these planks are surprisingly helpful. Hey, they fit. By connecting the beams. And then again, no idea why the structure of these wheels is like this, but just is. Even in the smaller ones, there's a middle ring going through the entire thing. So I should get that one going as well. Although the middle ring is a lot smaller. So still doesn't completely fit. But I can't make it smaller. So then that's the only thing that I have to do is get these ones and twist them around. Then to get the baskets again, these ones can be a little bit smaller because this is more for like kind of personal use. This isn't meant for like large scale irrigation anymore, so I can make some smaller things here. So this is where you would get your water to, like, I don't know, do your daily chores or something with. Like if you need to wash or cook or something like that. Then you would probably get your water from this one. So thank you, Chris. So almost done with another water wheel. And now it's just again doing the spokes in between the two wheels. Where were those things? Although here you don't have to have so many of them. You basically only need 2. Even though I never really, like, when I first thought of making a Noria, I basically thought of like making a standard windmill like we used to know, but it's kind of growing on me. It makes it look a little bit more unique, which is always a good point. Well, not always. So now I need to connect these two again. And I need to and frick. Relative. This one sink into the ground, and I can build another one of these things. Actually, I don't have to be difficult about this. Like, why be difficult about something where you can literally just sink something further into the ground and it works as well? Then get a smaller beam to go through that. Yep, it's at the same. Then if I want to, I can also just put 2 in there. Don't know why I would want to, but just because I want to be extra. So the iron bars to hit that. Also, maybe to make them faster or slower because the weight isn't the same at any point on the circle. Could also be true. I think I should try and look into it a little bit more. I mean, it looks pretty. There's nothing to say about that. Looks pretty. But just going to make this lower so that that basket is in the water. Which means this has to go lower so that it's stuck on that. Which means that these two. I don't know why I'm completely setting this up already. Because in Kayan al-Bashar it might look completely different. Now the thing that I never really use, which is this. Don't know why I never use it, but I just don't. So yeah, it does look a little bit like it's, I don't know, like it's been through stuff. It's the best way to describe it. But just to give like a quick show of how it would work. And you have something that's large enough. To look a little bit like piping. Like this has been there for quite some time. And there's also not really a small version of this. But this should get the idea across a little bit. That this one is completely for like large scale irrigation. This one is like to do your cleaning, cooking, and everything with. And maybe like if you have a small garden, these are the ones that you get your personal water from. Again, it's going to probably look completely different in Kayan al-Bashar. This is just a mock-up. Although I do like it. I also like that I took away the buildings. I don't really have anything else to build. Like, well, there's of course the reservoir that could be built, but that needs to be built on location. I don't have any plans yet for the rest of the university. So I don't know. I am going to close my recording software though, because I'm not going to record anything anymore. There's just a thing, like, I really like or want to show you guys what I've built in Kayan al-Bashar, which is the reason why this, well, stream was a little bit of a surprise, because I was way too invested, I would say, in Kayan al-Bashar today. But then on the other point, I don't want to basically give away what you guys are going to see tomorrow. So it's like, I want to show it, but then tomorrow's video won't be there. So I'm like, why are you saying sorry, Chris? But just to make sure, Chris, if you think that you like forced me to stream, that's definitely not the case. And it's like I've finished everything that I wanted to build. And now it's just a dilemma of like, do I spoil the surprise for you guys for tomorrow, or yeah, otherwise the stream is probably going to end now or around now. Nah. I like, this was actually the original idea for the Thursday stream, or actually Friday stream, but then I got tired, so then I pushed it back to today, and today, because of the weather and such, I forgot. So I'm actually really thankful that you remembered me. But it's just like, I'm so happy with what I've built, and it's I want to show it, but then the video of tomorrow is, yeah, it's just going to be a huge spoiler for tomorrow. So, yeah, I'm not too worried about you guys not watching it. It's just, I'm right now just also zooming around, just trying to think like, should I do it? Should I not do it? Should I do it? Should I not? Should I not? I'm going to do it. It's going to be quick, 10 minutes, and then tour version, because I cleaned it up for the thumbnails. Oh, now we finally get music. Oh, now I can also put the random thing off. Past. Just so that you have a nice image. I will actually price tomorrow. Yep, and don't tell anyone in the Discord. I can also close off everything else. I'm still waiting because of like those copyright claims of like how it's going to be resolved, because I have the license, so it should be a non-issue, but like I just want to know, because so far I have not gotten any like copyright strikes. I've only gotten claims, so I really hope that in the next stream I can play the music again instead of only having the Planet Zoo music. Because how many hours do I have? I think around 900 hours right now. The music of Planet Zoo really just makes me want to jump out of a window. After like 500, 250 hours or so, you really start to dislike music. But I think it's also like quick 10 minutes in and out. I think that would then also be a good time to just to also end, because we have been live for 3 hours. And I won't keep you guys here any longer than I should, in a way. If that makes sense. Like, I don't want to make the stream longer if there's literally nothing that I am going to do. Or nothing useful, in a way. I hate this music. Ow. Also, if you sit in the same position for 3 hours, don't sit on like a leg or something. Because I think you got like pins and needles if you like sit on like your leg and just a little bit of like your circulation is cut off. That's what I have in one leg right now. It's just like, I'm not going to jump out of the window. It's just that this music is so, like, I've heard it so many times that I can basically just stream it right now. I maybe should try and like, now the past image is just an image. Maybe I should like make it like a sort of GIF thingy out of it, so that there's movement to it. Because now it's just silent. Yeah, I could sing, but I don't want you to send me the bill of your, what's the name of like a doctor for your ears? Oh, we could have sung like happy birthday to a happy lover, but yeah, again, like, I don't need the bills of whatever the name is of an ear doctor or a surgeon. Wait, I'm just going to quickly look something up. No, not that one. 2 notifications. Why? I'm going to be only 9,000. Still know that at 100k subscribers, the lady designer is going to have a singing stream. I will never forget that. And I will keep her at her word for that one. So, can anybody just quickly find 9,000 people to subscribe to the Lady Designer? Boop, 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 boop. It takes really long to load, so I did not do too much. I just, well, the shell of the Hagia Sophia is finished, so that's good. And I've made a new kind of habitat. Oops. Still not finished. I need to clean up the inside. I need to do quite a lot of things, actually. It's loading. It's at 100%. How long is it going to stay at that? How much is not too much? When your PC doesn't catch on fire. Barely. Now I'm thinking of sweet potatoes again. I have no idea why. Sweet potato. Don't crash, don't crash, don't crash, don't crash. Yes. The bear isn't walking anymore. I mean, I could show. The bear walks. Well, you're loaded directly in on... Oh yeah, because I took way too many screenshots. But... basically, this entire island is a habitat. There are no fences. 0. And it's a walkthrough habitat. I'm just going to pause it because it's... So, still haven't worked on the door. But this is basically what you're going to see tomorrow. Hey, Lucinda-chan. There's some more water. That Noria that we built is probably going to go somewhere over here. Or here. Somewhere. That's basically what I've been building constantly. Just an entire courtyard. Just a little bit relaxing, a lot of water features. And this one is actually, well, pure fantasy in a way. Also, I found a use for the, just, if you want to have, like, what are these things? Well, things for water. The giraffe statue thingies are surprisingly helpful for it. I hear boxes opening. Like, they are just the right size. And if you stick them into a wall, they kinda also have the right shape. First idea though was the golden llama statues. But this is basically what you're going to see tomorrow. B files. So there's no fences whatsoever. Just constantly hear like boxes opening and closing. That's dirty. But I used a tip that's one of you guys said to me, which is just elephant grass. So the entire building is surrounded with elephant grass. Alright. This is stuck. Oh wait, I'm going to fix that later on. Also, this is something you're not going to see because I built it off screen. But we have a little bit of a merchant corner to the palace. Still need to build some more buildings. But you saw these two in the builds world because it's just easier to build there than it's to build here. Because here I have max 30 frames. There I have 60 to 70. Yeah, I really just like to have also just some shops or homes here. Although they're completely non-functional. Besides, you know, shelter. But I mean, it makes sense to have some merchants or nobles living here because it's such a huge palace. I mean, this is the entire palace area. Like, this is huge. So we are only at half of the map. So next phase or season is of Kayan al-Bashar is going to be here, and then in the end we can finish up all the like city with all the builds from the builds world. So all the houses are going to be here. So then you kind of have an idea of what Kayan al-Bashar is going to look like. But I'm going to say it already. This phase of Kayan al-Bashar is almost finished. At most, there are going to be 2 more videos on the Palace District. After that, we will move on to the next season. So it's going to be a little bit weird that we're not going to be building here much longer anymore. What's going to be the theme of the next season? It's the mystery season. Still need to finish all of these gardens and such. Like, that's just something what I build with like my mind turned off. Whenever I need to do foliage, I just somewhat turn my brain off. That's another reason why I forgot that I was supposed to stream today, because when I do foliage I just lose all track of the world. But Jen, you will have to wait. Even you guys will have to wait until we get to the next season to find out the theme of the season. Yeah, this palace is huge. And it's a mix of Ottoman or Turkish architecture, Spanish, Andalusian architecture, or like southern Spain, and then Byzantine. Yeah, so tomorrow is going to be basically the build of this part, and then trying to clean this up. There's probably not going to be 2 videos again next week because Trying to clean this up is going to be a nightmare. I mean, I already cleaned up this area a little bit, but then all these domes. That's going to be a nightmare. Trying to clean this all up. I mean, some parts are going to be pretty easy. Like this. It's just literally these domes here. Because as I said before, Hagia Sophia is domes, upon domes, upon domes, and then there's round bits. Which also need to be cleaned up. No, I usually don't, but because this is the build of Kayan al-Bashar. This is basically the centerpiece. Like, before we had the station, now we have the Hagia Sophia. So, one build in like a zoo or thing, I will completely go all out. So, everything else, like the university, is going to be smaller. Everything is going to be smaller than this. The only real big change actually when it comes to like the inside is, well, we have a Pantheon style hole in the roof. But there's some things that changed, mostly the back, because I wanted to have this huge window here. But just imagine like the Sultan sitting on his throne right there, looking over a red panda enclosure, because that's going to be here. Yeah, it's probably going to be only 2 more videos on the entire palace. Because it's cleanup, and then it's more cleanup, and then it's more cleanup. There's also a lot of bridges that need to be built. A lot of them. And a lot more ships actually that need to be placed. Because this is supposed to be like a busy, almost like flying highway in a way. But there's a lot of things that need to be cleaned up. But here comes the fun part. After this season is finished, I'm going to put it on the workshop. So that you guys can explore. Although I think I might put it on the workshop in parts. So that for the people who don't have a hefty PC, they can explore the Palace District, and then they can download the Mirage District and look at those things separately. Instead of trying to force their PC to watch all of this. Although, past I do have a very stable frame rate. So this is going to be good. You can definitely see that over time I've gotten better at buildings. Still like the small things like this village of Karshanik. But that's going to be it for today. Otherwise I'm going to show too much. So hope you guys enjoyed the stream, and I wish you all an amazing rest of the day. Bye bye.